Oudejaarsdag 2006. Het is tijd voor een wijs mens. Tijd voor Ervin Laszlo, de man die zijn leven begon als wonderkind, als concertpianist. Maar achter de vleugel begon Laszlo's geest al heel jong weg te dwalen, naar een wereld die veel groter bleek dan de concertzaal. Laszlo dompelde zich onder in de wetenschap en kwam tot het volgende inzicht. De mens is bezig de wereld te vernietigen. Maar hij is ook in staat het tij te keren. Als het chaospunt binnenkort een feit zal zijn, dan moeten wij daar klaar voor zijn. Wij moeten wakker worden. Aanvankelijk werd er niet geluisterd naar de boodschap van deze muzikale erudiet. Maar inmiddels is Ervin Laszlo meermalen onderscheiden voor zijn inzet voor de wereld. Hij richtte de club van Budapest op, waar vele vooraanstaanden van de wereld zich bij aangesloten hebben. Deze geestelijk leiders, wetenschappers en kunstenaars zijn het over één ding roerend eens. Wij moeten ons zelfbeeld en ons bewustzijn nu veranderen. En dat kunnen we ook. Maar onze gewone manier van denken is onbruikbaar geworden. Tijd voor een nieuw inzicht. Pas dan zal het komende chaospunt niet tot de totale ineenstorting van de aarde leiden, maar tot een doorbraak. Oudejaarsdag 2006. Hier is Ervin Laszlo. Can you explain what the chaos point is?
Well, that's a very important, I think, epochal, fatal, practically, point, turning point. In popularly, it will be called the tipping point. It's the point where up till now certain things go and then they don't, because it's like riding a bicycle. You know, if you keep riding a bicycle and you keep going uphill, sooner or later you slow down, you go, and then if you stop, you fall off. So the only thing we can do, going to a chaos point, is find a new way ahead, new way to go ahead. So the chaos point is the point where you either break down, fall off, or go forward in a new way. And we are on that point, we are approaching that point. There is something you might call, the famous psychologist Jung would probably call about the collective unconscious, is something, an archetype in the collective unconscious that people are talking about 2012. The Mayans have this in the calendar. The Cherokee Indians have it in the calendar. The Hindus have also foreseen this. Over several thousand periods, they say, a time comes to an end, which has lasted now several thousand years. And now, at 2012, more or less, we're getting to the point where something new has to start. So it's in the mind of people. People are expecting that some change will happen. And I believe if you look at the various processes, whether it's climate change, or the growth of poverty, or the reduced availability of fresh water, or the pollution of land and agriculture potential, any one of these things you look at, or the urbanization, the agglomeration of this tremendous number of people in big cities, you know, you get to a point where you say, up to a given point, it goes and it doesn't go anymore. Breakdown happens only on what is known as the BAU scenario. The BAU scenario is BAU, business as usual. If you don't change, if you just simply think, you can go ahead up till now because everything is the same, then there could be a breakdown. The breakdown could be precipitated any one of a number of different factors, whether it's the change of climate, the coming of an ice age in Northern Europe, as also in Holland, quite possible, whether it's a drought because of the heating up of the atmosphere that affects 1/3 of the human population, you know, in the southern countries, or whether it's diseases, or whether it's cultural conflict, terrorism, whatever. The breakdown could come because simply the system doesn't stand up anymore. It's not sustainable. And then it comes, then we are very well equipped to make the worst of it, because we have so many weapons, there's so many means of killing each other and destroying nature around us, So the breakdown is very likely be precipitated by something else, by the climate or social change or economic problems, but the end result is likely to be a hot conflict, not just a cold war, hot wars, you know, growing up all over the world. And even, that's important to say, even if you have a small nuclear bomb, there's such a thing as a small nuclear bomb, I mean, even that is tremendous, of course, even that could create a kick, give it a push on the climate, would change the global climate, and you could have this coming hot age, even on the base of a single nuclear bomb. So it's a very dangerous time to be playing around with weapons. Breakthrough will be to learning, very simply, to learn to live on this planet. We are 6.5 billion people. By the 2050, if human society survives without a major catastrophe, the projection is 9.1 billion people. By 2012, probably about 7 billion people. So we have to live on this planet in a way that we can share its resources, that everybody could live. Right now, we are overusing its capacities. The way the rich people live, if everybody would live like that, we would need 2 other planets the size of the Earth. So, learning to live. There are many ways I could tell you that it would actually work out in practice, but the key element is always live on one planet, 6.5 to 7 billion people, in the way that we can all live. If we don't act, then a breakdown will come. And I don't think we act if we don't understand.
So you say we have to change our mind.
We have, the first thing is to understand. If we understand, then it's not enough to understand intellectually. But already if you understand intellectually, then at least you know that it's in our interest, your interest, my interest, everybody's interest to change. At least that's the first step. But then, to be able to have the courage, the will to change, you have to have different values. You have to say, this is my priority. I want to achieve a sustainable world for myself, for my children, and for all people. And that's a different mindset. That's a different consciousness. So I say, basically, it starts with understanding, but it carries forward, it gets forward with value change, and basically the evolution of our consciousness.
And how do you view humankind? Are we people who want to flee in despair and do nothing anymore?
There is a possibility of becoming so afraid, so paralyzed with fear that we don't do anything. Mm-hmm. There's a possibility that we think that there is nothing to be done, you know. Typically, you say, if there is somebody is really a pessimist, he says, well, all these, the tipping point or the chaos point, we have already reached it. And I can't do anything, so might as well just try to do the best I can for today and get as much money as I can or enjoy myself, whatever. Nothing to be done, okay? That's the pessimist. Now, the optimist will be somebody who says, okay, this is already going to be handled. There's nothing to be worried about, you know? So it also doesn't do anything. Yes. And this is all part of human nature. But there is a reasonable part, and I believe myself that this is the way that we're going to go, that where people are awakening, recognize that, yes, if we don't change, we are going to run into serious problems. Climate problems, poverty problems, food problems, you know, cultural conflict problems, war. And in that case, I think gradually, and perhaps even more and more rapidly,